Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel, and finally I'm pleased to confirm that I have got to the stage of completing the second army in my 2mm Travel Battle First Manassas project. This is the Union forces under McDowell, and it's taken me a little longer than I hoped to get this drawn up and completed, but I'm pleased with the results. So I've got the 4 divisions here. So you've got the first division made up of 4 brigades, and second of 2, third of 3, and the fourth of 2. So I'm just going to show you again, similarly to what I did before, how I've done these. So if we take, for example, the 1st brigade in the 1st division here, which is Sherman, and I tell a lie, it's that's the 3rd brigade. I just haven't got them in the right order. That's Sherman. So made up of the 13th, 69th, 79th New York, and the 2nd Wisconsin, and the 3rd Company E, 3rd US Artillery. So you'll see there, they're not all the standard kind of uniforms that you associate with Union, because again, from my research, certainly a lot of the New York units were Zouaves or other uniform colours or mixtures of uniform colours. So I'm just trying to zoom that in a bit. I think it's the small scale. There we go. Similar theme to how I did the Confederates. Then we've got the one at the back here. This is who have we got here? This is Richardson's brigade. So you can see again some slight contrasts in the colour schemes there. So Richardson's was the 1st Massachusetts, 12th New York, 2nd or 3rd Minneapolis, I think it was. And again, some slightly different colour schemes with some grey uniforms in there as well. And we continue. So you'll see the one at the back here actually only had 3 regiments, and that was Schenk's brigade. So 3 pretty full strength brigades, 1 weaker one, with the similar sort of approach as I did with the Confederate video, with the skirmish lines to represent units or brigades with skirmish out, which would be like this. So I've done 6 stands to allow for that within my rules. And then we get on to the 2nd division under Porter, and that's of Porter's brigade and Burnside's brigade. So we've got Porter at the front here. Now Porter was actually made up of several New York militia regiments, the 27th New York, and then US infantry, marine and cavalry units. Now people will probably be wondering where the cavalry are. Well, from my research of the 7 companies of the US Cavalry Battalion at 1st Manassas, they didn't actually operate in a mounted cavalry or dismounted cavalry capacity. They, in other words, they weren't used as cavalry. They were used in effect with the artillery as additional troops supporting the artillery. So they weren't used in the capacity they were designed for, and perhaps that was a mistake on McDowell's part, particularly later in the battle when some Union cavalry could have been very, very important. If we get along to the 3rd division under Heintzelman, we've got Franklin, Wilcox or Ward, depending on your history perspective, and Howard. So at the front here we've got Wilcox. You can see Wilcox on there has got 4 regiments, the 11th and 38th New York, and then again the 1st and 4th Minneapolis, and Company D US Artillery. So again, colour schemes from my research of the different units. There were a number of units in the Union forces that were wearing grey uniforms. I've tried to represent that from my research of each individual unit. So for example, this brigade here is Howard's, Howard's was made up of several Maine regiments and a Vermont regiment, and I know some of the Maine regiments in July 1861 were wearing fully grey uniforms. Certainly that's from the research I've found anyway. And then finally we've got the 4th Division under Miles, Blenker and Davies brigades, and again similar, although you can see these are dressed in the more traditional colours that you would associate with forces of the time. So pleased to have these completed. Basing system was exactly the same as the Confederates, using that very fine grit which I put on around the bases, which were glued first and foremost before painting. I then undercoated them in the usual grey primer that I use with a soft tone wash, and then just painted on the basic colours in a very simple fashion to give what I feel is quite a nice look. And you can see the colours popping out there from the bases. I've used the same sort of very low green foliage, so it's not overpowering the bases in terms of height. You can still see the figures there, so that works quite well. And yeah, I think they fit quite nicely into these grids. As I said before, this is only a 3x2 cloth, which I'm going to be using for the game, travel battle game that I want to set up. So now the next stage really is just to do some scenic items that can go onto the table, and hopefully the whole thing should be finished. So although it may not be a specific first Manassas setup, what I wanted to do was just have those forces to give me a starting point for my travel battle game. But what I will do in due course is once I've got some scenery bases and things set up, some additional pimping bases as I call them, with artillery batteries and things like that, I will set this all up and show you the final results. But again, I've used my trusty Manassas Battlefield Guide here by Ethan Refuse. Absolutely brilliant book. I've got the 7 Pines one, 7 Days Battle ones as well. Really good. Lots of detail, and yeah, I'm pleased with them. I hope you like these, and you like the second part of my Travel Battle Manassas project, and hope to bring you a final video in due course once I've got those brushes working again and got the last bits in place. For now, enjoy, and hope to see you all again soon.